Stories of hope where hearts connect. Side effects may include joy, advocacy, and inclusion too. You're listening to The Inclusion Effect, sharing love, strength, and respect. Side effects may include joy, advocacy, and inclusion for me and you.
Hello and welcome to The Inclusion Effect. I'm Anna and I'm here to talk with guests and with you all about disability advocacy, inclusion, and the ups and downs of navigating a world that frankly isn't always built for the disability community. Today's guest here with me is Matthew Schwab, an amazing disability self-advocate. Thanks for being here. Matthew, you want to go ahead and tell us about yourself?
Of course. Hi, everyone. I'm Matthew Schwab. I'm a public speaker. I started a business called Matthew Schwab Speaks. It's my platform and my business. I started to help change the way the world sees Down syndrome. I started it in October of 2019, and I love doing my business, and I've been generating national inquiries for the past few years now. Post COVID, luckily, so
Yes.
and I'm speaking all over locally across North Carolina. In fact, it was just a couple of days ago, last weekend, I went to the Cape Fear Buddy Walk for Coastal Buzz, a Down syndrome organization over there. They had me speak.
How cool. That's awesome. And I see that you also do acting.
Yes.
Yeah. How did you get into acting and public speaking?
Well, so public speaking is almost a no-brainer for me because, for one, I am comfortable in front of the microphone. I don't mind the spotlight, and I love talking to people. But the acting thing is kind of different. It's because I didn't grow up with public speaking. I grew up with it from like middle school on, but I grew up with acting. I don't have my family does not have a background in acting. Only I do. So I started with a couple years with a local dance studio in Holly Springs when I was living there at the time. Very, very little.
How cool.
And they did 2 summers of Wizard of Oz camp. I loved both times. And then it stemmed off from there. And then I did community theater as I grew older, which is for individuals with both disabilities and basically for everyone, still called Together on Center Stage. I did quite a few productions with them, and then I did. I'm a class of 2017 Holly Springs High School alumni, so I did theater through my high school, Holly Springs High School, because we have a strong performing arts department, and we have the theater component, which is the class, the courses, and the after school part, which is was known as the Holly Springs Theater Company, now known as the Golden Hawks Theater Company, and I did that, and I ushered for Wizard of Oz then, and then I did props crew for Peter Pan, and then costumes crew for James and Giant Peach, and then my favorite one that I love talking about is props crew for Phantom of the Opera my senior year. That's what started my love for musical theater. And then I took a long hiatus from that because after graduating high school, there's not. And then I'm sure I did the community theater thing a little bit, but after that, that was basically it because at the time, I already needed. I did what I wanted, and then Mom said, "Hey, there's this avenue of acting that you should get into, just the professional acting." I said, no. I was very apprehensive. And then I think that was about maybe like 3 years, about 3 years ago when 2 years ago when Mom pitched me the idea of approaching it professionally, and then it wasn't until about I started the process, and then a year after I started the process, I I was brought onto a commercial for TurboTax for their commercial from the pre 2 years ago. Their March their commercial that they did from March Madness a couple of years ago, and then I did two commercial gigs in between TurboTax and the other one. In the middle, I had the opportunity to be casted. At first, I auditioned and then called back, and then eventually I got casted into an independent film called Horse Girls. We filmed it within the course of 7 weeks, and it's in we filmed it within the course of 7 weeks, and it was in Portland, Oregon. We filmed it
Where
in
I
Portland,
live.
Oregon, and that was a year and a half ago, and that experience was amazing.
What's the film
And
called?
and Horse Girls is loosely based off of a true story of our main writer's family, because her mother Sandy passed away at that time, and she has a sister Marguerite, which in our movie Horse Girls we have a Marguerite, but it's actually Margarita. So it's based on that frame.
How cool.
And
Okay.
but most recently, this past June, our film just got accepted into the Tribeca Film Festival in, uh, in June,
That's
and
awesome.
we got accepted into 4 other film festivals. We did 2 of them already, and the Seattle Film Festival, we won 5 awards. Like one for Best Actress, which 2 of them were actress wise for Gretchen Mol and Lillian Carrier, our 2 main characters, and then one for the grand jury for this. So the whole film festival, we won that one. So we are an award-winning film, and I'm part of the award-winning ensemble.
Congratulations. That's amazing. So you've been booked and busy.
Yes, and also we're close to have a distribution. We're this close to get Freedom 26 distribution.
Oh my gosh, Maddie, that's awesome. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna have to look into that movie. I hadn't heard of that before. Horse Girls. Okay.
Yes,
Awesome.
there's stuff out there, but you can look up there's stuff on Instagram that us as cast and crew posted,
hmm
and also on the wider internet about the premiere at Tribeca.
Awesome. Okay. Very cool. Okay, I'm gonna have to look into that. Horse Girls. Awesome. Okay. So aside from being a amazing actor, a booked commercial actor and movie actor, and a professional public speaker, you of course have Down syndrome. So I have a child with Down syndrome. When somebody asks you about Down syndrome, do you have like a specific way you explain it, like a quick and easy, like dumbed down version for somebody? Like what do you tell them Down syndrome is if somebody knows nothing?
All right, so I have various versions. One of them I can share with you guys, which is Down syndrome is just a gift. It does not define who you are, because we are human beings. We have our own passions, desires, talents, skills. We're just normal human beings. We just have something extra special in us. Sure, it may take us longer to learn and do stuff, but overall, we are human beings. We are more like you than we are different.
I love that. And what's something that you notice that people often get wrong or they misunderstand about Down syndrome?
So there's lots of misconceptions out there. Like,
Mm-hmm.
for examples, people with Down syndrome cannot work. Obviously, I can. Everyone,
You're working.
almost everyone with Down syndrome can or want to work, and already working, and acting. Like, people with Down syndrome cannot act. But there's Kevin Iannucci with Down syndrome in the Champions movie, and in the upcoming Champions 2 movie, and there are a few others like Sophia Sanchez in
Mm-hmm.
in the most recent Hunger Games movie, and me with Horse Girls, and so basically what I'm saying, these misconceptions are out of date, and and
Yes.
and those kinds of stuff. And is what our parents have been taught by medical professionals and doctors as like my mom had me in 1997. And so from 1997 to before they got an outdated narrative. And that's why I wanted to do this. And to live my own life to the fullest. So I can break the chains of the old narratives, the old life, and make my own life.
I love that. Yeah, and you're working and you live alone as well, right? That's another misconception I hear a lot. You don't live with your parents.
I don't live with my parents. I
Yeah.
did live on my own with my younger middle brother for 2 years in an apartment in Apex, North
Oh, how cool.
Carolina. But but this is cool, kind of awesome because this is her dream as well, and my dream as well. That Lucia Bermano and I live together. Now we've been living together for several months. We're approaching on 1 year in our own condo, and Lucia Bermano is a wonderful young lady. But not only a wonderful young lady, but she was my girlfriend. Now she's my fiance, and
Wait,
And, and
bury
there's,
the
there's more to
lead.
that. There's more to that. She's not just my fiance. She's my bride because we got a date for our wedding. This September 26th of next year at the Chapel Hill Country Club.
Congratulations. That's amazing. So in 1 year, you guys are going to be married.
Yes.
Congratulations. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I'd say that's another misconception about Down syndrome that you're smashing away, like getting rid of.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my god. That's amazing. I had no idea. Congratulations. Are you guys deep into the wedding planning now?
We're just starting, so we're
You're just starting.
to deep end.
Oh my gosh, wedding planning is so fun.
Oh yes.
Love it. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm gonna have to go follow your fiance and bride to be on social media. I don't know her yet. Oops. That's awesome. Well, congratulations. That's amazing. Okay, so what do you love most about being part of the disability community?
I just love being me. That's basically all I can say. But
That's awesome.
it's just that I love having a disability. It does not define my life. It's just makes my life special. I'm just myself. I am living my life to the fullest, and I love being an advocate for my own population because our voices may be heard, but not listened.
Yeah, definitely that seems like something that I've noticed as well, is that even if you're being included a lot of times, and I'll notice this with my child as well, even if they're being included, they're not necessarily being listened to or included in the same level. And so that's definitely something that needs to change. So when you're doing your public speaking, what kind of topics do you like to focus on?
I speak in a lot of topics, to any topic, but the highest in demand and the ones I speak the most is my life, the importance of inclusivity as a whole, and the importance of inclusivity in the workforce. In fact, I did a TED talk highlighting the importance of inclusivity in the workforce, which is
Wow.
on my website, MatthewSchwabSpeaks.com, and that's where you guys everywhere. You guys can go to my website, learn more about me, learn more about my business, and book me for speaking gate. Or if you have any event or have any organization that wants to book me, pass it along to them, and they can book me for speaking engagements or exhibitor booths. I also have T-shirts on my website as another way to spread my message.
Heck
And
yeah.
yes,
And I'll go ahead and link that in the show notes as well. So if anybody's listening to this and wants to check it out, it'll be linked in the show notes. And yeah, his website is super impressive. Your website is like so well done. Oh my goodness.
oh, thank you.
Of course. So what do you think that inclusion looks like? What does it look like to be inclusive fully?
For me, inclusive and inclusivity means not just for recreational only, but for everything in life. Like that means inclusivity in the workforce and even within the workforce. cannot be just food service. People with disabilities have a right to make their own decisions and choices. So they should not be forced to do food service because of that's what the government wants them to do. Which I did that in quotations because the government penalizes our population for overworking. And why do we have to
Yep.
be punished for overworking? Overworking is a good thing for us because we don't, as individuals with disabilities, don't make a lot of money in our pocket because we have to rely on not just our pocket. We also have to rely on the North Carolina Innovations Waiver and all that stuff. And each state has their own version of the ABLE account and all that stuff.
Yes.
So we don't have all that money in our pocket, and we want that because
Yes.
we want to not just to live on our own, but we want to be financially independent.
That's a great point. I love that you brought that up. And just to clarify for anybody that doesn't know that's listening, and Matthew, you can absolutely elaborate on this. So two things. One, to receive SSI, you can't have more than $2,000, and it might vary a little bit state to state, but it's $2,000 in assets total, which is nothing. I mean, that's such a slow amount, especially with inflation and how much things cost nowadays. My mortgage costs more than that. Like that's nothing. And then two, you are legally allowed to pay people with disabilities less than minimum wage. So really, just all in all, it's just set up to make it so that you can't really be super financially independent, right?
That's truly correct. And there are other fields of employment that people with disabilities can choose. They can choose to work in the government. I have worked in the government 4 times. Well, technically 4 times. 2 times in the North Carolina General Assembly for Representative John Bradford, and 2 terms on his campaign team as his deputy campaign chair.
Oh wow!
And so I did that. So people with disabilities can work for the government. They can work for stuff like companies like IBM, and even there are people that are on board of directors for national organizations. Like we have people on the board of directors for the National Down Syndrome Society and the National Down Syndrome Congress.
Yes. And both of those organizations are doing amazing work, and they both do a lot of advocacy focus, like you're talking about, on people with disabilities having meaningful jobs and being paid as they should be and being able to have more assets than $2,000. And I think when you get married, it goes up to like $5,000 or something. I might be off a little bit, but it's still incredibly low.
Yeah, true. And for the marriage part, marriage penalty, because once you get married, you would lose all of your benefits and all that.
And that's just absolutely crazy. That's just
That
so inequitable.
like that at all.
That's a shame. I'm
Yeah, it is a shame.
disappointed in our government for that. You guys all deserve so much better. Everybody deserves better than that.
That's why me and other and the rest of the team of advocates are out there to break those misconceptions and to teach the government a lesson. Don't just listen to us. Listen and hear from us, because we are normal U.S. citizens.
Yes. I love that. Yeah, that's a great point. I'm so glad that you're so passionate about that because, my child's only 3 who has Down syndrome, but someday she's going to be 18 and she's going to be an adult, and this is going to be something that hopefully in 15 years has changed, fingers crossed, but something that we'll have to deal with. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, that's just wild. Okay, so you've kind of told us how you advocate for yourself and other people with disabilities. What are some barriers that you've really faced, either as a child or as an adult, specifically that you feel like you've really had to work hard to overcome?
For me, my barriers don't seem like barriers because I was too young to see them as barriers.
Mm-hmm.
But as I grew older, I kind of realized the truth of behind my diagnosis, and that kind of shocked me a lot because I like me, I've felt to the I fell victim to the same narratives as the past, and that that wasn't pretty for me. So I think that right there was my biggest barrier, is the uncertainty of my future. But now, what was uncertain then is a certainty now. Like I'm rappelling down an 18-story building, which I did. I skydived. I'm acting in a movie and commercials. I am basically living my best life, ballroom dancing with my almost wife, and it's just awesome. And my life is different than a lot of people because everyone has their own lives, and my everyone's lives are different. And because I'm marrying Lucia Romano next year, I'm marrying into not just a new family, but marrying into a different culture because they're Argentinian.
Oh, okay.
Francesco Romano, which is her father, and Maria Romano, which is her mother, are uh, they and their families are originally from Buenos Aires, Argentina. So for me, I have to not just learn the language, so I have to learn the language, eat Argentinian food, and embrace the Argentinian culture.
Yeah, okay. That's crazy. That's a lot.
Yes, it is a lot, but I'm getting
Wow.
there slowly but surely.
Yeah, okay. What's your favorite part about learning about Argentina and stuff then?
So far, the history.
The history? Okay. I love how introspective you are and how considerate you are of everything, of your own life, but also of your fiance's and her culture and everything that's different. That's amazing.
Yeah. And
Did you grow?
which is
Oh,
convenient because the reason why I live in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, all because of them.
okay. Yeah. And did you grow up there?
Not in Chapel Hill, no. I grew up in the Raleigh area.
Okay, so close by then, North Carolina.
Yeah,
Okay, so yeah,
just
that's a big
half-hour
culture difference.
half hour distance away.
Yeah, I've never been to North Carolina, so I'm just guessing.
So, like, RTP, the Research Triangle Park, or the Triangle. So that's where Raleigh is, and there are surrounding towns around the Raleigh area. Like there's Freeway Marina, Holly Springs, Apex, Freeway Marina, Garner, and I lived in Apex and in Holly Springs, and it's Cary too.
Got it. Okay. So, okay, yeah, so that's quite a big cultural difference then, though.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Um, so October, obviously, is Down Syndrome Awareness Month. Are you doing anything specific to celebrate or to raise awareness and advocate?
Well, so October is usually naturally a busy month for me
Yes.
because my historically through my business, October has been busy because I always the North Carolina Down Syndrome Alliance. I always have mm, mm, I always hire my business as a exhibitor booth for their body walk, and there are other speaking engagements going on, and for that, but not only for my business, but for me personally because my fiance's birthday is October 10th, and our Gigi's Playhouse Raleigh's Gala, which I'm on the board of directors for that.
Oh, wow.
And there's a lot of things. Like most of my life revolves around October, and because her birthday, my fiance's birthday, my birthday, and it's just October is just a chaotic month.
There's a lot going on. Okay, so you're on the Gigi's Playhouse of North Carolina's board of directors?
Oh, Raleigh. It's
Of
Raleigh.
Raleigh specifically. Oh, okay, good to know. Okay. Do you want
Yeah,
to tell me a little bit about that?
yeah. Gigi's Playhouse as a whole started in 2002 in the Chicago area by a Chicago native, Nancy Gianni. She had a daughter then, which was a year old, Gigi Gianni. She started Gigi's Playhouse as a place, initially as a place for her daughter to be accepted. But when little did she know that that there's a high demand for that because
Mm-hmm.
before pre Gigi's Playhouse, there was barely anything. At that time, there was like Down syndrome organizations that were just barely getting started. And so Gigi's Playhouse is a network of Down syndrome achievement centers. We have over 62 locations, 60 most of them are in the U.S. and 2 are in Mexico. And we
Oh,
also
I didn't know that.
serve 93 other countries through our virtual programming. We mm, we have pre-educational and therapeutic programming to individuals with Down syndrome of all ages, from prenatal diagnosis all the way through adulthood. And each program is or series of programs are tailored to the, the age groups, and from like resources for new parents all the way up to resume building, like job slash career focused programming. And we don't just do that; we also serve their families and the larger community as well. Because as a network, we are a 501c3. That means we are reliant on the community for funding. Some playhouses have the state government's help with the funding, but not the main source of the funding, because we are relying on the community funding, which is from either our fundraising events, mm, mm, corporate matching, or mm, grants from the community or organizations. But our
Yeah.
playhouse, GG's Playhouse Raleigh, is the 36th playhouse in the network, and we're the first of our kind in North Carolina. And then 3 years after us, GG's Playhouse Charlotte opened up.
Oh, so you have 2 there. How cool.
Well, it's not us. We have the Raleigh one, but so because the GG's Playhouse model is, I don't like to say franchise because it's not like a Chick-fil-A franchise or McDonald's, because because we have a national office which is in Chicago. They don't dictate where each GGs will go. The community dictates it. If it's someone with no experience whatsoever, or some experience in the nonprofit world, or something like that, then if they feel the need for a GG's Playhouse in their area, it's up to them to act on it. And we have a system where they have to make an X amount of money. I think it's about $10,000 dollars of initial funding, and then sign up as an inquiry to the national office. And once that inquiry is approved, then you can start building on your board of directors, work like recruiting your board of directors, getting the process of getting a lease for your location,
Hmm.
and once you get the lease, then you have to maintain the playhouse. That is why, even though our programming is free to our the community, families, and the participants, but it's not free to us because we need the money to operate us as a network, and to maintain our physical locations, and each playhouse basically has an infrastructure, mm, which means that each we answer to the national office. There are requirements that the national office wants us to have,
Hmm.
and it's up to each playhouse to interpret the requirements in our own ways.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. Oregon is a big state, and we actually just got a Gigi's Playhouse for the first time in Portland last year,
Oh,
which is still like 90 miles away from us, which kind of stinks, but better than none in the whole state. So
true.
maybe someday there'll be one down here too.
Maybe there are a lot of inquiries. I think over 200 inquiries in that get signed up as inquiries per year
Oh,
in our
geez.
network, and now we're
Wow.
at eight emerging playhouses. We're at 8 playhouses are starting are in various positions in the process.
Wow. Okay, interesting. Yeah, Gigi's Playhouse is a great resource. Definitely a great resource that fills a need. So that's awesome.
Definitely.
Okay, so what advice would you give to somebody who underestimates you, who underestimates people with disabilities in general?
Basically this. Do not underestimate us. We are human beings. We live our best lives. We're normal United States of America citizens. And do not treat us differently. we deserve a chance to be everyone. We are more like them. We are different, and
Yes.
and I have Down syndrome since I was born. I'll have it my whole life. But as you can see, it's just one part of me. Feel free to notice my differences, but please focus on the overwhelming ways that I am just like you.
I love that. Yes, you said that so eloquently. I love it. Oh my gosh. What is one comment that you get too often that you wish people knew was actually rude, ableist, insensitive? Like, is there something that you hear people say that they maybe mean well, but it comes across offensively?
Oh, not to me personally, but as a population,
Hmm.
there's the R word,
Of
and
course.
yes, and there's other stuff out there where people make it a joke, but they don't mean it.
Yeah, I have definitely heard people, even people that know my child and know my family, say the R word and say, well, we don't mean it in a mean way. And I'm like, well, it's still a slur. So yeah, I know you didn't mean it mean, but it has a history of putting people down, like my child, like Matthew, like people who don't deserve to be put down.
True. Like it's like ableist is a way of bullying.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. It absolutely is. And maybe you don't mean it that way, but it still comes across that way. And it's still pushing a narrative that is ableist and bullying. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Hmm. Let's see. Yeah. So, what message would you share with parents of kids who have Down syndrome? So, like me, what would you tell me? My child is 3, so she's still young.
Wow. Your child has a future, a bright, wonderful future, wherever that life takes them. Embrace it. Treat their choices seriously. We um, we are human beings. We want the same thing that everyone else wants, which is a future. We want a future that we can dictate with support from parents and other organizations, but it's up to us to make our own puzzle and to make our future happen.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. Is there a time, speaking of supports, do you feel like you've had to really fight to get the supports and accommodations that you need, or has it been okay?
I mean, it's been largely awesome for me, but
Good.
there are times where we have to fight, where I
Hmm.
had to fight because it took like when I was living in the apartment in Apex with my younger brother Ben,
Hmm.
middle brother Ben. It took like a whole year and a half to communicate to Social Security just for the address change.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because they say you can only book the appointments in person, book the appointments online, and the online doesn't work,
Oh my goodness.
or there's no way to do it. And then we had to get in person appointments, which we would have to cover like almost half a morning or half a day for that.
Yeah.
And so basically, that kind of thing is exhausting. And
Yes.
reporting income, which luckily I don't have to do anymore, but I had to report income. To me, it wasn't much of a barrier. It was more of a constant annoyance. Like, why does
So
the
annoying.
government need to know my income?
So annoying. Yeah. We don't even get SSI for my child, but because we want it to stay active, we still have to report our income to them too. Um, so that someday maybe she can get it. And it's just, you're right. It's just annoying. It's just a waste of time and it's annoying.
Yeah, for my mom is a lot worse on her end because she's the one who's doing all that heated calling and
Yeah.
all that, but the mom is getting the full force of it, while I'm getting partial force of it with the
Yeah.
reporting income and how long it takes to process. So just for me, it's like, oh God, not again.
Yeah. Oh, okay. A bit of a topic change. How did you and Lucia meet?
Oh, this is a awesome story because
Yay.
the- our story of how we met each other goes as far back as the early months of 1998 when she was
Oh
a
my
year
gosh.
old. Because she was born in 96 and I was just about half a year old because I was born in late 97 and the North Carolina Down Syndrome Alliance at the time had no name, or so our moms were starting that up, and there was a mom's night out at I think at I think maybe at Lucia's mom's house or something like that. That's how we first met. But we first started dating years later in December of 2013, back when the first Frozen movie came out into theaters. That was our first ever date in December of 2013, and it just grew and grew from there. We did 2 years unofficially, and then which led to 8 years as boyfriend and girlfriend, and 4 years as just regular boyfriend girlfriend.
Yeah.
And then the last 4 years were exclusive and heavily committed boyfriend and girlfriend. And then it wasn't until 2020 when I wanted to propose to her, because at that time it was long overdue for me, because I wanted that to happen when I graduated high school in 2017.
You've been ready.
I was impatient. Impatient.
Oh my
And
gosh.
that's why I kind of sped up the process a bit. But I to respect her. She wanted it to take time. So I
Yeah.
found a medium. Not too fast, but not too slow. And then it's just funny because I asked her parents first for the blessing. So I
Yeah.
was bold on my end. They fell out of their seats because they did not know I was going to ask for the blessing. They knew it was coming, but they did
Yeah.
not know it was going to happen right then. And then the whole year for the process, resizing and all that, and then I proposed to her. And little did we know, we did it in Chicago for the GG's Playhouse Leadership Conference in 2023, a couple years ago. We're pushing on our 2-year anniversary this November 4th. Lucia, little did Lucia, and we knew that all because of what we did. The proposal, it was filmed, and we end up getting over 42 million views over all across all social media platforms, like from TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all over the world, like all over the Americas, from
Oh my gosh.
Argentina, and even across the world, like Norway, Sweden, I think maybe Italy, basically globally. Like our local news stations, I think 3 or 4 of them did a news story on us. We were kind of like global celebrities.
So your engagement went viral.
Yes.
I'm looking up the video as soon as we
High.
get off this phone call. I'm looking up the engagement video the second I'm off of this. Is it on your website?
Oh, not my website, but on social media.
On your social media? Okay, I follow you, so I'll go
The
look.
one that says 42 million views.
That's crazy. Oh my gosh. Wow. I love that. Okay. And obviously she said yes right away.
She did.
Oh, I love. I have goosebumps.
Her reaction was this, like, oh my god, it's a yes, a definite yes.
I love that so much. Oh, congratulations. I'm so happy for you guys.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome. So do you think the wedding's gonna go viral too?
I'm fairly certain that for sure. But on Instagram alone, I've done a lot of commenting. It feels like over 1,000 plus comments.
Yes. Yeah.
So he may go viral with the wedding date announcement, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Lucia doesn't like the fame. She doesn't. I mean, she doesn't mind a little fame, but she doesn't like too much fame. For me, I don't.
You're an actor.
I don't just like it, and I don't hate it. I just go where the fame takes me. I'm not a fame seeker. The fame seeks me, and I just go as long as fame seeks me.
I love that. And honestly, and you know this, I'm sure, the more that you're out there doing the thing and kicking butt and people see you doing that, the better things will be. The more people will normalize somebody who's an adult who has Down syndrome doing amazing and doing everything they dream of. And I love that. Just existing loudly and being yourself is advocacy, and you know that.
Definitely, yes.
I love that. Okay, I do know that you have to go pretty soon. You're on a time crunch. You're busy. But let's see. I'll ask you a couple questions and then we can wrap this up, okay? So,
Um,
if you could change anything in the world, if money and time were not an issue for the disabled community, people with disabilities, people with Down syndrome specifically in the world, what would it be?
I want us to be equals in the world. Not superior to typical people, but just equal.
Equal. I love that. Okay, thank you for sharing. And then what stereotype about Down syndrome do you want to get rid of? If you could just like poof, it's gone, what would it be?
Basically, every narrative,
Yeah.
everything. But my primary focus with my business, Matthew Schwab Speaks, is focusing on getting rid of the misconceptions of the employment and inclusivity.
I love that. Yeah. I love that you focus on employment because that's a normal part of basically every adult's life. And for people to have some kind of stigma in their mind that people with Down syndrome can't work or shouldn't work, that's so limiting. Okay.
Definitely.
And then the last question I'll ask you. So my daughter who has Down syndrome is 3. If you could give her one piece of advice, if she was here, she's not because she's loud and she would be screaming and this podcast would be ruined. But if you give her one piece of advice, what would that be?
Just live your life to the fullest. Find ways to be creative with your life. Be patient because what will take a normal person less time is it takes longer for us. We have the same template of a life as everyone else. It's just that template is different and it takes longer for us. We are celebrating the same accomplishments as everyone else, but it's more of a big deal for us because it takes longer to be anticipated. But our hope is to not to celebrate those moments, but to treat every moment as a moment in our lives together. And there are many sources out there. There's like a TV show that I watched called Born This Way.
Yes, yeah, I watched it.
Nice. I love that show. And there's
Me too.
other movies and shows out there. Watch movies that have actors with Down syndrome, and there are lots of other mediums out there.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, so Matthew, where can my listeners find you if they want to go follow you, support you, etc.?
So, for social media wise, you can check me out on Instagram, Matthew Schwab Speaks, no caps, no spacing, and that's where I have the biggest following. And I think I'm approaching 40,000 followers. And so there's that. I have a YouTube channel, Matthew Schwab Speaks, and I also have Facebook, also Matthew Schwab Speaks, which is linked to my Instagram. But primarily, MatthewSchwabSpeaks.com. You'll learn about my business, Matthew Schwab Speaks. You can book me for speaking engagements, exhibitor booths, or not, or just regular engagements. Doesn't have to be speaking engagements. Just any appearance that you guys need me. There's a way on my website you can contact my business team, and we'll get something in the books. And there's my t-shirts on the website, which is $20 a piece, which is the financial part of the financial component. But more importantly, is another component in spreading the message and spreading my platform. Because bigger my platform is, the more I can do.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
And if you guys are already using Matthew Schwab Speaks' services, thank you so much for allowing me to be part of your journey. Thank you for allowing me to be part of your organization. Thank you for letting me be part of the chosen family that you've chosen and created.
Yes.
And I'd like to leave with one final thought. I am Matthew Schwab with Matthew Schwab Speaks. I'm living my own life. and we are same. We are equal. And let's change the world.
Woo! Hell yeah. I love it. Oh, Matthew, you are a gem. I adore you. Seriously. Thank you so much for talking with me. Thank you for doing everything that you do. Thank you for living your life loudly and proudly. Everybody who's listening, go follow Matthew Schwab. Check out his website. Support his business. He is iconic. And if you've made it this far, please follow, leave my podcast 5 stars, and share it with a friend or two. Follow along on social media. My TikTok is at The Inclusion Effect, and Instagram and Facebook are also at The Inclusion Effect. Thank you so much to everyone for helping me build this community of passionate advocates, and happy Down Syndrome Awareness Month, and happy birthday to you and Lucia, Matthew.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for being on.